So most problems that you are facing currently are surface level problems, and they're not the real problems that you have. And the real problems are often not seen because you're not doing the following things in order to actually find those constraints. So you can find the real constraints by actually using a technique that I use and I have used over and over in my businesses that I've built over the last few years, making over $2 million a year in order to find those problems every single time. We became an expert of this. Now you can become an expert on finding those solutions to those problems and always going to that problem solution cycle to always find the best possible answer for what's happening right now. If you think about it, those problems that I just mentioned are really surface level problems. But the real problems that are under the surface, it could be something that you don't have a client acquisition system, or you don't have the right sales and conversion skills in order to lock up deals in a way, or you don't have a way to recruit high quality talent that you can delegate this and that person is in the right seat and it's the right person to be there in your company. The first thing that you should do is ask yourself why on every single problem that you currently have. If you have a problem right now and that problem is leads, and ask yourself why over a dozen of times. So why do you have a lead problem? Because maybe the lead generation company that I'm working with has really bad leads. Why do they have really bad leads? Maybe because it's coming from cold calling. Why does cold calling have really bad leads? Maybe because the list is not the best. Why is the list not the best? Maybe because the person that put together the list doesn't know what they're doing. Why does the person that put together the list doesn't know what they're doing? Maybe because they don't have the right training. Maybe they don't have the right knowledge. They were not set proper expectations. Why did that happen? Maybe because we did not put an effort into onboarding that person properly, or setting the right expectations properly to that person, or giving them the right tools in order for that person to be successful. And why is that happening? Because you need leadership training and so on. So when you start asking yourself why a bunch of different times about specific things that are happening in your business, you're gonna realize the real constraint and where everything gets there. Me as an engineer, I learned how to find the root cause of the things, and this eventually helped me in business to find the problem solution cycles, or the problem solution loops that every business has. You currently have different problem solution cycles that you probably have not addressed just yet, and I'm going to address those problem solution cycles or problem solution loops with you. And I have a list of over 22 problem solution cycles that you should know when you're generating leads from online marketing or any different marketing channels. So throughout the past 2 months, we've gathered data from the last 3.5 years of clients that are crushing it and doing really, really well, having over 5-6x of return of investment, 7x, and sometimes more. And they've made so much money in their business in the last 3 years that they've been with us and continuously be with us. I also went to the clients that have not done well, have only stayed with us for 4 months or less, and potentially are struggling. I was able to compile the data and ask them questions specifically to the best performing clients and the worst performing clients. And I realized that this list right here is gonna help me help you understand how to make the most out of inbound leads and digital marketing, or any marketing channel as a whole that actually generates motivated seller leads. So here's the first one: getting leads from another state. If you get leads from another state, one of the biggest things that people do right now is they are very resourceful and they find a way to get JV agreements with other people that are in other states. So if a lead comes in from Google or Meta ads, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube ads, and that person is from another state, what people do wrong is that they don't call that lead because it's not in your target market. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to this position, or I don't wanna work with that lead because it's in another state, or it's in another 2 hours, 3 hours away. Well, the best people actually find a resourceful way of making money out of that deal, because at the end of the day, that's a deal. If a motivated seller comes in and it's from another place, you want to help them. You are in a relationship-based business, not a transactional business. You want to help people that are struggling. So how can you connect them to another wholesaler or investor or buyer, or put an effort into ultimately getting that property in the contract. Perhaps that person lives in the place where you live right now, but they have a property somewhere else, and figure out if maybe they have other properties to sell as well, or referrals for you because now you have fulfilled them. And connect them with other investors. Trust me, this is how one of our clients actually made a $35,000 deal by doing a JV agreement with another wholesaler and investor that was in that specific market that he was not dealing with, and they all both made money. And it was the same energy, same process as just ultimately negating the fact that you can make money out of it. Number two is that leads are listed in the MLS. A lot of wholesalers, investors that don't know what they're really doing, they're going to judge the lead based on the research that they do before even calling the lead. You have to call the lead. You have to have conversations with the lead. If it's listed in the MLS because you did a nice research before calling the lead, that's your first mistake. You should be calling them regardless whether you're doing research or not. If it's listed in the MLS, you want to figure out why they're actually reaching out to you. It's probably because they're working with a real estate agent that has not performed, or a real estate agent doesn't know what they're doing. And as a matter of fact, one of our clients, Colin, actually made a $50,000 off a deal that came from an MLS lead first. So he called the lead, ultimately understood, built a relationship, and helped that lead. And 1.5 months later, when the contract was over with the real estate agent and was not able to perform to selling it on the market, called our client, and they ended up figuring out a deal where they got a listed lead under contract with a deep discount and made $50,000 in that. How amazing is that? So if you become resourceful and have the right mindset in order to make money out of that, you can help homeowners that are struggling with real estate agents that can't fulfill, but you will fulfill. Even if it is not right now, you can nurture them, follow up with them, and in the future, you will make money. Trust me. Third, leads are rural with little to no buyers. Well, this is an issue that could potentially happen to a lot of you that are doing online marketing, because sometimes people in Google or in Meta are just living outside of a market that you don't have buyers at all. And one of the goals is to reduce the contract follow rate by getting sellers or properties that are going to be able to be this position. With a platform called Investor Lift, you are actually able to find buyers even if they are in these rural areas. Or you can reach out to people like Nick Perry that is going to give you the potential solution on how to lock up deals that are outside of your common areas. In order to get access to the technology that Investor Lift does, I'm going to leave a link below so that you're able to find buyers outside of your area, and you can actually scrape them really fast, call them, and see if you can make money out of it. At the end of the day, being resourceful and having the right mindset made our clients a lot of money. Even if they're outside of their area or in a rural area, there's someone that buys and fixes and flips houses in that area. It's impossible that people are not fixing houses outside of your area or in a rural place. So make sure they use technology and the leverage of other people's knowledge in order to get this done. So leads just want to hear the offers immediately, and they're asking for the price. Well, when you have leads and they're just going straight for the price, they're going straight for the offer, it probably comes down to your sales process. If you have that problem and you find it as a problem, a real closer will never actually say that that's a problem, because a real closer will learn how to reframe that conversation in order to go back to the conversation, or the real conversation, about extracting what is needed from the seller in order to make an offer. So as a quick example, you can always reframe the conversation by saying, hey, Mr. Seller, I understand that you want to know the price. The thing is that we don't do a cookie cutter solution here for everyone and every homeowner that we have. And we gotta first understand whether this makes sense for you and for us in order to give you the best possible offer. We do buy houses cash all the time. In fact, we just bought 2 last month. And we also buy houses for terms or creative ways and get you more money for your pocket. However, I do have to ask you a few questions about currently what's going on, the property condition, and where you want to go in order for me to give you a clear and customized offer for you. Does that make sense? Yes. So that way you can reframe the conversation and just use a sales skill called reframing in order to avoid this from happening. Because If you feel like these people are not motivated because they are shopping around or going straight for the offer, it's highly possible that you are the problem and you don't have that sales skill just yet in order to reframe that. Or your acquisition manager or your lead manager don't have that skill to make sure that you train them, get them to know what's going on and what needs to happen in order to make a deal out of this. Leads say stop calling. This could happen many times because you're probably calling them at the wrong time. So if the leads say to stop calling or the leads say something negative to you, does not mean that they're not motivated. It just means that you got them in the wrong time, and these people potentially are going through a scenario or situation that is just tough for them. It's a situation that is uncomfortable. It's a situation that is not the most convenient, and you know that these people are either potentially going through a divorce, losing their house, they just lost a family member, they have to move out of the state because maybe they lost a job, maybe they just want to retire, or maybe they're just fed up with all these tenants that are not really paying. This is a relationship business and you need to basically understand why things are happening. Go back to your whys and understand why they're telling you this. So if someone is telling you to stop, you probably can just call them with a different number in a different time, with different tonality. Maybe you can call them when they feel less stressed about what's happening. Number 6, leads are not picking up the phone. So if your leads are not picking up the phone, a lot of you will think that leads are not motivated. And you may go to pay-per-lead companies, try different services, go to different marketing agencies, and you realize that they're not picking up the phone. Or some agencies tell you, oh, I'm never gonna have leads that don't pick up the phone. All my leads pick up the phone. That's a pure lie. Unless there's a live transfer where you're live transferring the lead from an agent that they're actually calling from, like our company does at Hustle Media that have a call center, there's a high chance that leads are not gonna pick up the phone in the first time. It takes about 6 to 11 touch points in order for a lead to get contacted with you or for you to talk with the lead. So that means that you have to touch them 6 to 11 times and sometimes more in order to get a hold of them. That's why we have services like inside sales agents, or we have lead managers that are ultimately trained on speed to lead in order for them to pick up the phone. Because the faster that you react and that you respond, give them an experience where they have a text message, an email, and a phone call, and that seller gets serviced immediately, the higher the probability increases from 60 to 300% of your conversion rate. But even if you don't get in the first time, in the first 60 seconds, 2 minutes or 5 minutes of the lead coming in, trying it later on the day after, up to 11 touch points the first week is going to drastically increase that pickup rate. And if you feel like they're not motivated because they're not picking up the phone, then that means that you're being selfish because you don't know what is happening in their life. They could be going through a hard situation, a hardship, right? Financially, divorce, they just lost a family member, they're stressed, they lost a job, like maybe they're a mess in their life. If a seller has not sold the house yet to anyone else, it's not a dead deal. Until that seller has a conversation with you and sells the house to you, it's not a dead deal. You have to have that mindset. 7, leads don't have a lot of equity or they owe a lot of the mortgage. Therefore, it doesn't fit cash deals. I feel like this is an old one, but if you're in wholesaling and you only know how to do wholesaling or fix and flip, this is gonna hit you hard. Wholesaling requires for you to have a lot of equity in the property so you can make a lot of money on that deal, right? The same thing for fix and flip and so on. If there is no equity, then what you can do is you can check out people like Paige Morvey, or you can check out people like Eric Brewer, or check out people that are experts in creative financing or ways to creatively have an offer for them, where now you can take advantage of subject to seller finance. Maybe you can do an exit strategy that allows people that don't have a lot of equity, such as subject to, and get them under contract. Sometimes it could be a hybrid of both. And sometimes it could also be an innovations deal where, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I find a retail buyer for your house and we're gonna both make money out of this deal. So to a problem, there's always a solution. And this is the right solution to do it. So make sure to learn that exit strategy. Leads are mobile homes or land. It's a problem that a lot of people actually have. And that means that there's no real or clear expectations in your marketing campaign set, because if you're getting a lot of mobile homes or land and you don't want that, you should be telling your marketing agency from the very beginning, look, like let's make sure to exclude those as much as we can, or being resourceful and making money out of it by getting a JV partner that is a mobile home or land expert every single time that you get a lead. You obviously don't want to be paying for that, but sometimes there's gonna be motivated sellers that just have a house, and that house, it just happens to be in a land, or a mobile home just happens to be on the land. They just have a land and they just see this houses offers, and they also feel like they want an offer for their land. So make sure that you put yourself in their situation, finding a solution that could help them, JV with someone, but set the right expectations with your marketing partner to exclude those people as much as possible. At the end of the day, you can make money either or. Number 9, leads are just real estate agents or wholesalers inquiring about a property that they have. This is a key one. You're gonna find a lot of wholesalers trying to funnel hack, or real estate agents that really need help selling a property from a client that they have not been able to fulfill. Remember that story of our client Colin that actually helped a listed property? Well, the agent was not able to fulfill, and the agent was the wrong agent for that client. So there is sometimes agents that reach out to real estate investors, wholesalers, flippers for help. And if you have the capacity of adding value and how to find a solution towards their problem, you're gonna make more money out of the same marketing dollars. And instead of judging that lead because it's a wholesaler or real estate agent, how about you put their value hat on and actually help that person find a solution? Even if it is like a $5,000 to $10,000 deal for you, that's a good deal for you. And you're actually providing value to the marketplace by connecting them to someone that could actually potentially help them. So put yourself in that shoe. Number 10, leads is a buyer that went through the funnel. Again, if it's a buyer, make sure that you actually help that buyer. That buyer could actually be a buyer for your list. And it could be a really good buyer. Sometimes we found buyers that are extremely wealthy that just want houses, and they're just being funnel hacking, wholesaling clients. So think about that, and that's how you're gonna make a lot of money from that. 11, leads are fake because they don't present distress. Here's a huge difference between distress and motivation. They're both different things, and they can also be combined together. People that are distressed is just people that are in a situation where their house is just terrible, is just presenting them this huge amount of stress. Maybe they're gonna lose everything, or they're about to die because of their house. Something is gonna happen. And motivation, it could be anything that literally triggers intent and motivation of selling a house. It could be something like divorce. It could be something like moving out of state, losing the job. It could be many different types of motivation that doesn't necessarily mean that they're being harmed by it, but there is a high probability that their gap of where they are right now to where they want to be is big enough, and your job is to actually find that gap and expand that gap as much as possible in your sales process. So when you have a sales process and you find that gap and expand that gap as much as possible, that's where you're going to make money out of people that are not necessarily distressed, but they're motivated. Because what you want is motivated people. Those distressed people are 1 in a million, 1 in 100, way less than that. It's only 1% or 2% of the population that are in really high distress. Imagine if everyone was distressed. That would suck. So you really want to help people that are motivated. Number 12, leads phone number disconnected or fake. A story that I have is one of our client, David Rooney, actually went to a house, knocked on their door because he had an entire property address, and they got a hold of the seller. This comes from resourcefulness. Another client also sent their acquisition manager to the house and got that seller under contract and made a $35,000 assignment fee. The only thing that changed here is your approach to having a phone disconnected or an old phone. Sometimes people will make mistakes and put the wrong information on their lead forms, or they put a phone that is not working anymore, or maybe Facebook recognizes an old phone. What you gotta do is just try to contact them in a different way. You can ultimately drive to their house, send them a direct mail, and ultimately just talk to that person. You can also skip trace the property address and find all the potential other phones that this person has, and now you're gonna call them, and whether you get a hold of their family member, wife, spouse, or someone that knows them, now you're gonna be able to get a solution out of it. Or you can actually contact their neighbor. Their neighbor is gonna be able to give you their potential phone number or the time that they actually are gonna be at home, and that's gonna be a way for you to solve this. 13, leads don't own the property. So be it. What if they don't own the property? What if they do know the person that owns the property or know other properties as well? Have a conversation with them. Make sure that you help the other person, because ultimately when you're helping someone and you have the intent of helping someone and you don't ignore that, you're gonna help the other person that does own the property. So get that decision maker on the phone. That could be just like any sales process, an objection that, hey, I don't own the property, you have to tell me all the details because I'm doing this for my wife, I'm doing this for my mom, I'm doing this for my uncle. So make sure that you get all the decision makers in place and have a real sales process. 14, leads are looking for retail price and house is in good condition. A lot of people actually get this wrong, is that if you think that a seller is not motivated because it's asking for retail price, you're wrong. People are not educated properly. Zillow is showing something, Realtor.com is showing something, and they believe that's the thing that they should be going off and the offer that they should get. Problem is that they've probably never sold their house, or maybe they have and they've sold it through a real estate agent in the past with other houses that they had, but they are lacking education or they're not reasonable at that moment. Well, what you gotta do is you gotta put your sales hat on, consultant hats on, and be able to educate that person, but also show them proof that what they're saying logistically doesn't make sense. But at the same time, there's different offers that you can actually give this person in order to accommodate what they want. We're talking here novations. We're talking here creative financing. All the spectrum of creative financing can work, whether it's a subject to seller finance. You can think of many other creative financing options that can fit that property. So if you do this, you're gonna make more money out of the same marketing dollars, because online marketing works that way. We attract motivated sellers, not necessarily a specific distressed property. So when you learn how to convert those, you're gonna make money out of people that have retail leads. And when you actually have a sales process, you're gonna be able to find the gap of that individual by finding their true motivation, their true goals, the condition of the property, what's really happening, and that is going to help you create that gap. Number 15, lead costs out when trying calling. Guys, look, if they're costing out and you're taking it, that means that you need more reps, need more sales calls. It means that you haven't done enough sales calls and be trained in sales enough to actually have the argument that these are bad leads. I have been cost out so many times, but I've done thousands of sales calls, and it's part of the game. You just reframe this. Maybe that's not the right type of client that you want, or maybe it's not in the right moment. The right moment is when you're gonna be able to have a high quality conversation with that person. If you reframe that to have a high quality conversation after you being cost out, do it. You can try again with a different number, with a different tonality, when that person is actually not irritated or stressed. So improve your sales process, and this is gonna be way better. Number 16, leads don't show up to the appointment. Expect this all the time. You should expect that your appointment no-show rate could be from 20 all the way to 40% or sometimes more. It just depends on the systems in place that you have in order to make them show up to the appointment. So those sales systems could be the way that you follow up, your credibility, the way that you have the first conversation with them, the way that you remind them with emails, text messages, and any credibility package that you have to make them realize that you're the right solution. It could also be that maybe they already are doing business with another wholesaler or investor. So it means that you gotta be quicker and you gotta be able to build the right rapport and the right relationship with that seller before that appointment even happens. You have to make sure that you increase that appointment show rate as much as possible. But think about this, every business has no-show rates. Number 17, leads sold their house to another investor. And this is a big loss that a lot of clients that are not knowing exactly what they're doing have happened. So that means that either their offer is not right, did not have a high quality conversation, not cover a really great sales process, did not find the right gap, did not ask the right Socratic questions, and was not able to create enough value for that seller in order for that seller to work with them. So if you improve your sales process, your sales systems, follow-up systems, nurture systems, your speed to lead to get that person on the phone. If you don't get people on the phone, you're never gonna have business. That's how you're gonna solve that. Number 18, leads that picked up are not serious to sell. What does that mean? Your coach, your mentor, and you potentially, when you hire people, you're gonna ask yourself, what do you mean by that? Tell me more. Why do you feel that they're not actually serious? Tell me more about the process of the conversation. Tell me more about what you said, how you said it. Tell me more about whether you actually found a gap. What type of motivation do they have? Did you get a hold of them? So once you actually start evaluating and you start getting more information about the sales process and now doing the feedback loop back to your marketing, you're gonna be able to get a better argument about why and what's happening. Number 19, leads were contracted but were bad deals and did not close. Acquisition disposition. This is a marketing and sales game. If you acquire the property and do a sales process where you don't do it deep enough, you don't find the right gap, have a good sales process in order to actually get it under contract deep enough for you to make a lot of money, or choose the right exit strategy to make a lot of money for that one, could be innovations, creative deal, and you don't disposition it properly where you don't have a right buyer, there's gonna be a lot of money that you might be missing out, and therefore it's a bad deal. Always work on your sales skills, your offer strategies, and all the exit strategies that you have, and make sure that you give the best experience to that seller and find a way that you can disposition these deals to the right buyers and negotiate with the buyer in a way that you can make the most amount of money out of that deal. Number 20, leads are not motivated and I'm giving feedback to my marketing company and nothing changes. Well, this is a two-way street, right? If something is happening and we have not addressed all the other points that we just discussed, then we 100% actually are going to go to the marketing and media buying, even though it's happening in a daily basis where we're tweaking, we're getting feedback loops and so on, and seeing what could potentially happen. It could be that we might not be running video right now. You might want to run video. We might not have the right offers right now. You may want to actually add different type of offers, innovations, creative financing, being a better person on the phone. It might be that we don't have a current sales process or a current script or some sort of way to actually find a gap of that individual and use persuasion tactics and high urgency and scarcity tactics in order to close the deal and give a right offer. So many different things that could happen. So make sure that you actually start asking yourself why several times and you will find the right solution. Number 21, leads have multiple offers and are just wasting investors' time. This happens all the time with Google Leads. It happens all the time with PPC. Speed to lead wins. The person with the best offer wins. The person that is more likable wins. The person that has great conversation and a better sales process and finds the right gap of where they are right now, where they want to be, and ultimately build a relationship with the person wins. So when you click all the boxes that we have in terms of marketing, sales, and the process that you give the experience to your sellers, that's how you're gonna win. So differentiate yourself doing that, you're gonna win. Number 22, leads are asking crazy amount for their house. Guess what? It goes back to retail lead solution. It goes back to not everyone is gonna be your right avatar, or not everyone is gonna buy from you right now. That means that these people might have unrealistic expectations right now where you're able to deal with them with a different type of offer. Innovations, creative financing, seller finance, subject to, but also as you build that relationship, you can nurture them where in the future, maybe 2 months out, 3 months out, could be 6 months out, they actually sell the house to you because they're fed up that everyone is trying to lowball them. There's no solution for them. And now their gap becomes even bigger and bigger because their motivation is a higher stretch. So that means that they're the last steps of motivation where they're like, if they don't do anything about this, they're actually gonna lose their house or something's gonna happen. But you have developed a relationship with them and they're gonna go back to you. Make sure that you have the right marketing systems in place, sales systems in place, nurture systems in place, follow-up systems in place, and a structure that you can actually fulfill to your clients. So as you noticed, majority of these problems you didn't even think of because you are not asking yourself the why question several times, or you don't have enough experience or not work with the right marketing agency or the right marketing partner, or you don't have the right people in place just yet hired for your company to tell you the things that you need to know. My goal is that you understand how digital marketing and online marketing works and you make the most out of your online virtual wholesaling business. The last thing is that if you reverse engineer all these problems and you always find a way to go back to the root cause, there's nothing better that you can do in your business than doing this. Nobody is better than you. These companies that are doing $5 million a year, they're not necessarily better people than you. They just know something that you currently don't know. They're doing something that you currently don't do, and they believe in something that you currently don't believe in. And guess what? These people are getting educated. These people are always working on their mindset. They're believing in things that you may not believe right now, but you will believe in the future because that's your future 2.0. So that person right now is going to get better by just doing something, learning something, and believing in something that you currently are not. Once you start doing that, learning better, getting high quality talent, ultimately getting a better mindset, and stop with your shiny object, understand marketing and understand sales, your problems are going to be solved eventually. And hopefully this video helped you kind of fast track a little bit of what type of problems you're going to actually get and what type of solutions are out there for your online marketing channels, or even any marketing channel whatsoever when you start running PPC or Facebook ads. And if it gives you any type of value, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Go to our website, hustlemedia.com, where we're going to be able to provide you with different resources on how to learn about digital marketing. Subscribe to this channel where there is more videos about that, and how to build an effective marketing machine and how to scale your company with high quality team members. Click the thumbs up to help the YouTube algorithm, and see you in the next video. And let me know what other type of videos you would like to know, and I'll be so happy to actually talk about that.